All right, we're recording. So this is our first video podcast on Fallscast, and I have the two best goddamn fishermen I know with.
You need to meet more fishermen.
Don't worry, I have a bunch lined up for when this all falls apart. So I got PJ and I got Mo, and we're average fishermen, and we're not pros, obviously. We can't even get Zoom to work or guides. We're going to talk fishing and booze and music, and Jason Isbell is going to be on one of these one time. That's the whole goal. Let's start with
the end goal. That's the end game.
What time is it? About noon. What beers are we drinking today? Since Mo, why don't you go first, since you drove all over hell and creation to get a beer in your fridge?
Well, I'm not drinking the one that I drove all over hell and creation to acquire, but I do have a delicious, tasty beer here from Asheville, North Carolina.
I used to live there.
I know. I was wondering if you maybe might guess the brewery, because I know
the Highland.
It is.
Hey.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I like that one too.
It's a very delicious beer, and I brought an extra one.
Just in case this goes long. I just talked to P about it on the last one. I got Upper Pass from Vermont. It's delicious. I followed them on the Instagram so that they would maybe send me, I don't know, flat of beer or case of beer for these.
I will just mention, for the followers and the fans out there, I just picked up my first keg for a new kegerator that I got for Christmas.
So fancy.
I know. I feel like quite the aristocrat. / drunk. I can't remember.
Rock on tour because you do so much.
But from Crank Arm Brewery here, local.
Oh, nice.
Raleigh, Rickshaw IPA.
Nice.
Also a delicious beer.
That's a good one. Did the sour, was it the Monkey Bicycle?
I think it was actually a Saison, which is
okay.
Like sour.
I drank that other one just because of the name, Monkey Bicycle.
It's funny because I was taking a picture of it to send y'all, and I looked at the picture and then started driving away. and I'm thinking about what the picture said, and I'm like, that doesn't say Rickshaw on it.
Squealing out of the parking lot with kegs flying around them.
Gotta make this podcast.
I gotta make this podcast. Wait a second. That's a sour. I don't think I want that.
E, what you drinking? Nothing? You working?
Well, I have been drinking the Frostbite Black IPA from Foothills Brewery.
I used to know a guy from Foothills Brewery, but they're delicious beers. I don't know if he works there anymore. Could be dead. I don't know. Goodness.
There's my dog. You can hear that.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're going to talk winter fishing or fly fishing. And so for all the fans out there, I'm in upstate New York. Mo and PJ in Raleigh. I used to live in the Asheville area, so I got some Smoky information. And but Mo, you went out fishing for other species. Why don't you tell us where you went and what you were fishing for? And that'll kick us off while me and PJ drink a little bit.
All right, sure. PJ and I both grew up here in North Carolina, and I grew up fishing, freshwater fishing, mostly bass fishing in Lake Gaston, which is on the border of North Carolina and Virginia. And they are stocked with stripers, which is a saltwater fish, but they spawn in the river. I can't remember Todd, you probably know the technical term for fish that go in the ocean and swim upstream to spawn. I can't remember what they're called.
No, the ones you're talking about are landlocked.
They're called salmon.
Yeah. Yeah, so like steelhead or salmon, they live in the ocean but come upstream to spawn. But they stock lakes with them, and they don't reproduce in the lake. But they still act like this, the stripers, or they call them locally here, they call them rockfish. You'll hear them called rockfish. But they still act the same. They school the same. They even in March and April, they want to run up the lake, towards the dam, like a fake spawning run. which the part of the lake that I have access to, it's a pretty big lake. Part of the lake I have access to is closer to the downstream dam. So I don't know that I've ever fished the part of the lake. It's like 30 miles away from where I'm at. So I've never fished the part of the lake where they do that false run. So I haven't seen it in this particular lake. But what I do or have done for a long time is troll for them in the wintertime where they're down deep in schools off of ledges and drop offs and structure, which is the same thing I think they do in the ocean. They school, and they're just like pretty ferocious hunters. They're just moving pretty quickly, even in the wintertime in a school, looking for bait, looking for food. And so basically you're bundled up in a little boat with a lot of clothes on, trolling, or in this case, I tried sort of slow trolling, jigging a fly down off some deep ledges to see if I could get one to take. Unfortunately, that day we were out there last week, we didn't see, you normally see like these huge schools that just cover up the entire screen of the fish finder. And it's, you feel like they're about to jump in the boat and the hair on your neck stands up and all that kind of stuff. We never saw that kind of school. We'd see one or two or three here and there. So they just weren't kind of schooling up where we were at, and tried a bunch of places. But so I was dragging a fly through empty water, I think, for a lot of the time. But we also had some live minnows, which is a lot of the time the preferred method to get them, and especially in the wintertime. And you maybe get the more likely to get that sort of right place, right time. One was cruising by,
Right.
One cruising by kind of bite. And so we did boat one, and I have a picture if you'd like to see it.
If you want to share.
Yes.
And, I talked to Doug Norris, who and he comes up here and they do the same thing. They fish steelhead that come out of the Great Lakes, and they all run up the rivers here. It'd be awesome to have him on. He invited me this past fall, but I couldn't make it out for whatever day. But same kind of deal, right? They get massive in one of the Great Lakes, these huge steelhead, then run up the rivers, even though that's not, what they're used to doing. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I can't share my screen, but I think you have to allow me to share my screen.
I don't know how to do that. I obviously don't know how to do that. We can barely get this going.
Host disabled, attendee screen sharing. It's fine.
It's fine. But I may try to add them in post production.
Yeah.
Try to add a
I even
picture.
I had pictures of the fly I used ready, the scope that we were using, my rig, everything. But that's cool, whatever. Fans will have to wait till next time.
Gonna leave them wanting more.
Exactly. I made you a co-host. Does that do anything? I don't know how this works. You can give it a
Oh,
yeah, it does.
Your name went away. Oh my God. And we get to see someone's gonna hack into your drive.
Probably.
All the
My
people.
drive is probably hacking into everybody else somehow.
It looked warm.
Yeah, it was cold. So this is, look, I even have my COVID mask on.
Oh, nice job. Nice job.
It's a striped bass or rockfish or striper. It's about a 20-inch fish, which is a keeper size in North Carolina. We let it go, but
yeah.
So pretty
is
nice.
that on live minnows, Mo?
That was on a live minnow, yeah.
When it is warm, what'd you say? Is bass like the kind of number one thing you fish for out there?
You can striper fish all year. You really can. But I mostly have focused on largemouth in that lake during the summer months. There's more of them, and it's easier fish to target, really.
Yeah. Is this your setup?
Yeah. So my Orbis Clearwater rod and my Lamson Remix reel with a sinking tip line.
Yeah.
Cool. I was able to, with a lead head, I was able to get the fly, I think, down about 20 feet or so, which was in some places where we were marking fish. So that was actually pretty decent. So I think it was a decent rig to try this. So that was cool. So hopefully another day when we're out there and we're seeing more fish more actively feeding and schooling, and that means there's bait there that they're just hammering. They can't help them. Like I said, they're just a hunter. They can't help themselves, but if it's in front of them, I think they're gonna feed on it.
It's like other big stillwater for trout too. You'll go out and they're cruising. I fished trout in like bigger lakes in Maine, and without any help trying to figure out kind of where they are. But you'll be like hitting the banks with it, and some big brook trout will be cruising around and find like either a stream or even a dry fly, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, in the spring when they are doing that like false run or whatever, whatever false spawning run, false cast. Anyway, that's a plug for the show. They're all over the surface, and especially in like the March time frame and in the fall time frame. By the way, the shad are running just before them, and so there's huge schools of shad, which is their favorite bait, or even just large minnows. Are schooling at the top of the surface, and you can see them teaming at the top of the surface, and but they're just like there and gone. They move so fast.
Yeah.
So unless you're out there with your fly rod rigged ready with a big top water fly on there ready to drag it through this pile of fish, they're there and gone. You might, if you're there at the right time, you'll probably catch 20 fish.
Right. And if you're not, you're skunked.
You're just walking, riding around in the boat with your fly rod in your hand.
And a beer.
Huh?
And a beer. So the best part, you took me out on a boat a couple of times, like bass fishing. My favorite thing from like not trouncing through the woods and waiting was I just got to sit on a seat while you drove around. I drank Busch Lights till we went home. I didn't catch anything, but it was a great day.
It's the same as a road trip with you, but yeah.
Let's talk some more winter fishing. And PJ has turned into what I think is a really good nymph fisherman. And PJ's got a spot up in the mountains where he fishes. I'd be curious. You haven't really fished up there in the winter. You did some fishing last month, right, P? And
we got a little place on the New River in Watauga County, right outside of Boone. And honestly, when we got there, I thought it was going to be mostly like smallmouth fishing in that river, because you look online, there's really not much about the New River. It's all like the Watauga and other smaller creeks around, but found out that they stock it, probably 5-6 miles upriver from where we are. And so, I've kind of just been taking this year to learn. And then I went out the beginning of November and then the beginning of this month, and did a little winter fishing, and it's definitely different. I don't know what your experiences are, Ted, but like I have no interest anymore in getting up early in the winter fishing and going out there because I never caught it all.
The best part about winter fishing is you don't need to get up early to go out, and you can catch it, warmer in the day. I mean, it's definitely like the New River. I fish the New River. A friend of ours their parents have a big house on the New River, all smallmouth, great fun. So I was surprised how many fish you were pulling out of there too, which is awesome though that they're stocking up there. But in the winter, the cold water definitely slows the fish down, slows the bugs down. Get out there when it's warmer. The things that I have found is, a little bit of warm sun on the water is gonna maybe make some bugs move a little bit more. Even in the south, it's great because a couple degrees, you might move up 10 degrees and actually get fish moving. But if they're not, I've always had a lot of luck with nymphs. And you got to slow it way down. You got to get as deep as you possibly can if the weather's not changing. And just get slow. Dark patterns usually seem to work pretty well in the winter, and really just get to dragging bottom and figuring out where it is. But it's awesome when it warms up a little bit, because the other thing in the winter is might start seeing a lot of midges moving around. So you could get a little dry fly hatch with some small midges. So get some small midges in your fly box, and then you've probably got a lot of those types of nymphs. But 2-3 nymphs, drag them low and see what happens. But if you're finding that weather's changing, you could have some good luck.
I discovered the only time I caught fish was in the afternoon when the sun was on the water. So, and I had a New Zealand strike indicator.
Oh, look at you, fancy. New
Is that
Zealand.
fancy?
Yeah, that's fancy.
And then,
I use a piece of shoelace. I'm just kidding.
and then a larger nymph first, and then a midge, below that. And I had a split shot above that first nymph to try and get it deep. And I went to a deeper hole under a bridge and hooked into like several rainbow. Like I think like 4 casts in a row during the winter. I had a rainbow on, which was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm gonna share my screen. Except that
I have to let you do that. The other topic we should have one day is that apparently fish only live under bridges. I've learned that the hard way. It's kind of hilarious in one way. That's where they always are.
It's funny that you say that because I was watching a video or reading an article one yesterday or earlier this week about striper fishing under the bridge.
Yeah. There's a spot I'd love to, when we talk a little bit more and some other ones, I'd love to talk about Maine a lot because I just love going up there. But there's a spot on this Route 16 that's like everybody can go there. One, it's like my nemesis. It has massive hatches. The fish are huge. I can't catch a goddamn thing there. It's awful. I can't stand it. But there's a huge bridge there, and like there's 8 guys, they're all on top of each other. But you have enough space. But yeah, it's so funny. And then like you'll go other places, you'll drive dirt roads on logging roads for like 30 miles. Be like, pull over, there's a bridge. It's gotta be.
Fish like structure. I don't think it matters what species it is.
Now, don't forget to tell everybody how small your hands are.
Yes. Well, I'm in trouble. Bigger. I'm in trouble because the fish is out of the water. Isn't that bad?
I mean,
I'm not supposed to take it out.
It's nice and cold out. It should be all right. I mean, you didn't walk up to the bank and take a picture and then.
I punted it back into the water.
I took a bite out of it to see if it was any good and threw it back.
Yeah, so I caught 4 rainbows here, and it was just deeper under that bridge right there. These were on. It was weird. So this is in the beginning of November. It's a little bit warmer, and they were on a white midge. I don't know if I have my flies here. I don't know if you can see it, but I mean it's like that little guy.
Hard to see, but it looks like maybe like either a little white zebra midge or something.
Yeah. And then December, a month later, it's colder. I went up and I had kind of the same setup, and I went to a different deep hole under a different bridge, and I had a split shot, and then a bigger nymph, and then a midge underneath it, and then made several casts, and then realized my midge had broke off. In one of my hands my fingers were shaking. I couldn't tie anything, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep going with what I got. And I actually got that on the bigger nymph. I got him on this guy. Kind of like it's jig head or whatever.
Yeah. Whether it's like a red. I can't see it good, but either some. Can't tell. It's like
soft tackle.
Yeah, some kind of
tail or something.
Thing going. Like a bronze.
Red's good for stalkers too. Like a red fly.
Yeah.
Really?
For whatever reason, Tony Garnett, who now lives in Hendersonville, we went fishing on last winter. Well, it wasn't winter; it was like October, and we went. And he'll be on once because he's funny, and I like to think I'm a better fisherman than him. But he got nymph and heavy, and we went somewhere and on the Watauga, but closer to Boone, and he just started slaying them on these little red nymphs like all day. And I was being so stubborn. I was like, I'm a better fisherman than Tony. I don't need to listen. And you hear someone hooping and hollering up the thing. I was like, God damn it! I'm like, gotta ask him what he's using and go up there, walk a shame up there. Where do you go? For whatever reason, I cold water.
Can I have one of your flies?
Yeah, luckily I got it. But it's
what are they biting on?
Yeah, exactly. A little river runs through it. Red midges. A lot of the midge flies, nymphs will be red, and my father-in-law will swear by a red usual at all times. So, and the guy who taught me how to tie flies in Asheville at one of the fly shops there, if it wasn't yellow, it was red all the time. It just like that was the only, yeah. It was Mo met that guy, I think, on a trip. We went up there, and he said, like, every time you ask him, what should I do for flies? As long as it's yellow. That's his only answer for the Smokies. So if you want a Smokies tip, just buy a bunch of yellow flies. You'd be good to go. Here in the Northeast, there's snow everywhere, and the biggest tip is find water. If you can find open water, you're good to go. I'm going to actually go out today after this and maybe take some pictures. And there's actually a creek called the Cateros that I have never fished that is open year round. There are some pieces open all year, and see what that looks like. And then maybe put my neoprene waders on. And you need to get your pair of these per Orvis if you want to sponsor us. Just another Orvis product. I haven't used them yet, but the cold fingerless gloves. So when it's really cold out, so you can actually tie. So I'm going to try that and see what that looks like. But there are places even in the Catskills that are open year round, like on the Beaver Kill where we were Mo this spring.
That's what I use to stay warm.
Old Forester. When you're looking to stay warm on the river, Old Forester. Pen. I know, if you're up, and if for Smokies, and the Davidson's another one that's year round, and it's a great time. Like the Davidson's a great river, but it's so heavily hit that right now is a really good time to go fish it. And then I always look at a couple of websites. R&R and Little River Outfitters will always be up to date in the Smokies, but you can fish the Smokies all year round. And I've had a lot of fun in the winter with a single nymph, and because they do get spooky when real clear water when it's not running fast. I will fish a single nymph with no indicator and drop it down, and I'll watch where the line and the leader attach. And if I see that move, I'll start. That's when I was a better fisherman, though. I don't know if I could do that now. I need a big piece of yarn to.
And you just use a no indicator because it's going to spook them.
Yeah, I mean, it might spook them, and I'm trying to get low quick, and just like the pockets vary so much of where the depth is. I don't want to screw around with an indicator sometimes, and so I'll kind of high stick or fish upriver and watch it come back, and I won't even look where the fly is.
You're fishing in smaller streams too.
Smaller
right?
river, than the new river, and it could open up. Yeah, could come down.
To like focus on one small hole where the place where PJ's been fishing is actually a pretty decent size stream. Where he's making pretty long casts.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot harder to just like stick it like you're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you have like consistent depth, that's the one thing I don't like sometimes about nymph fishing is if the depth changes a bunch as you go places, and you're always trying to adjust an indicator sometimes. But
I recommend the New Zealand. You can just slide it up and down the leader.
That is. I do. Maybe one thing we'll just talk.
It's important to not confuse that with cotton candy because it's not delicious.
Yes, I did look over one time and Mo was eating a bag of wool.
Well, that's pretty good for winter fishing. I don't have much else. If I had to give tips, it's always you just got to get real low and it's going to be slower and see what happens. At least in the South, it's not going to be you're not going to get a long winter, and it'll be spring soon, and then you can start looking for Quill Gordons hatching. So I don't know, you weren't up there were you there for the beginning of the spring? Did you see any hatches on that stretch of the New River?
Yeah, but I had no idea what I was doing or what I was looking for at that point. I mean, even in the summer, in the warmer months, I'd see some like spinners flying around, but I've never seen like a massive hatch in that section of the river, which maybe I'm just not looking for the right things or whatever. But, I'll pick up rocks and, underneath there's always nymphs under the rocks.
Yeah.
So a hatch.
Hey, when you see like a full-on hatch, it's like eerie. I mean, it's like, oh, this is the hatch.
Yeah, I've never seen a full-on hatch.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I think we should talk about because there's so much around a hatch, and maybe even before you get to where it's spring and you talk about hatches. I have a lot of bad experience in hatches. Although Mo and I, which is really hard to find, we hit a green drake hatch up here on the Delaware, which we should take like a whole podcast for all the fans to
should.
talk about the Delaware and maybe even get Joe Robb. You know what? I take that back. I immediately walk that back.
Yeah, walk that back in. Yeah. I do remember the first time I think I ever saw like a real full hatch was with you too, Teddy. It was in the Smokies. It was years ago now. It's probably 15 years ago, probably. But it was I think it was a stonefly hatch, and you
Was
were
that
able
when we
to
were
match.
with Fortson and all of them?
I think so.
Yeah, there was a stone hatch then. Yeah, I remember that. I bet they were yellow.
You matched it, yeah. They were yellow stoneflies, yes. And you matched it, and we caught fish, and you were all fired up, and because oftentimes it's some hatch, and you don't have that bug, or even if you do, they won't hit the one you got, and all of that stuff. But yeah,
there's so much around. I mean, it never lines up that way. I can tell you the first time I ever saw a massive hatch was on the Mills River near Brevard in the mountain when we had just moved to Asheville, and bugs were everywhere, and they were like they were the spinners coming down, and next to this rock there was this fish just gorging like every second. It was up, 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 up. I was like, this is like shooting fish in a barrel. I couldn't find a fly that fish would take. I sat there for 45 minutes, and like the bugs were like in my face, and this fish was just nonstop. And I was like, maybe I'll just accidentally hook it. I mean, you'd think. And I tried like 9 flies, but at that point, I didn't know anything about bugs. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't have the spinner with me for a fly, and you don't need to know a lot either. If you just know a little bit, that's all you need to know. You know what I mean? Like, no kidding. If you try to, I show me the time that there's a hatch and some dude's got a book open. I'm trying to run after Bella. Like, good luck. Because if it's anything like me, I come running into the water and like,
I feel like I've been spoiled where we are on the New River, because
I agree.
The whole year I've only ever seen one other person with the fly rod out there.
Shut up. I am sick.
No, I'm saying, so I feel like I think the trout are even dumber than you. Don't have to be like as particular as I probably should learn to be with like the flies.
Boo-hoo, I have a private river where the fish are dumb.
No, I still think you're learning a lot, P. You know way more than you did, before the beginning of summer about what different flies and what they're hitting. And
it's awesome, because if you get the opportunity, you get to just sit there and not be pressured with people around trying to, because there's nothing worse than you trying to figure out what the hell's going on when there's some jackass next to you. The only
thing it is doing is maybe setting you up for failure when you go to a river that's harder, and if you don't have exactly the right fly, then
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or PJ's turned into a genius and he mops them up everywhere.
Yeah. That was when we went with PJ. I'll just say this for the record on recording. Completely outfished me when I was there with him, and I think it was at least day 2 before I caught a fish. It might have been day 3. We were there 2 or 3 days. It was the last day, whatever, that I finally caught a fish. He was catching like 10, 12 a day at least, and he was just mopping it up.
I remember getting the updates. What'd you say?
He was mopping it up, to use your phrase there. But yeah.
You did end up getting the fish of the trip though, right off that rock.
Yes.
Well,
right near a bridge.
Yeah, it was near a bridge.
I'm just gonna sit under this bridge like the troll. Well, awesome. Well, I'm gonna plug this beer one more time.
Go ahead.
It's delicious. I'm gonna tag them in our new Instagram because we're social media influencers. I mean, if you want to give me any free beers.
Hey, let's hit Crank Arm up too then.
Yeah, hit them all.
And Foothills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Budweiser. I don't care. Just give me.
I don't know if they have the budget for it that we'll need.
Exactly. I mean,
I wanted to mention maybe a teaser, Teddy. Go for another winter potential conversation.
Hit it.
PJ, my stepdad, PJ's dad, fishes a lot at the coast, and he fishes for speckled trout, sea trout, all the time, and does well, PJ.
Yeah.
And he is becoming a more and more interested in fly fishing fisherman too. And anyway, I'm determined to make a trip down there, PJ. I haven't even had a chance to tell you that, but I've been reading about it a little bit. I linked you an article, and they're going to bite through the winter as well. And I don't know, that would be another good conversation. Maybe
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would love it because I've never, I'm not good in the salt and I've never done it much. And I really want to go fish. I want to fly fish for redfish and
Oh
some
my
of the
gosh,
reeds
yes.
and flats. I'd love to figure that out. And
where he's fishing is up in creeks in the intercoastal, not
Canals
like
and stuff.
not like he's
Gotcha.
throwing in the surf and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's like accessible little creeks off a dock, off a bank, whatever. And I have never caught a speckled trout, even though I've tried with him before. But he really does slay them pretty.
Yeah, he
the
does.
picture he sent yesterday of a really nice fish. I mean, that was probably 18-inch fish, PJ.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be good. Yeah, I'm absolutely all for it. And Tony lived down there for years, and he caught a lot of speckled trout fly fishing off his boat. Probably not maybe in creeks as much, and I never got the chance to do that. So that'd be awesome to have someone who knows what the hell they're talking
Another
about.
winter conversation. In the
Yeah.
wintertime, they're up in those creeks in the shallower water. I guess looking for food, but
Yeah.
I don't know as much about them or anything really.
Agreed. And neither do I. So yeah, so I think we do that. I think we get sponsors like Upper Pass Beer, Vermont.
I travel through the foothills to get to Boone.
Highland
Love it.
Brewing,
The winter ale, if you get some, delicious.
Crank Arm Brewery,
Crank
from
Arm
Raleigh,
Brewery.
North Carolina.
The Crank
Well-
Arm Rickshaw is a very good beer.
And then,
Looking forward to coming over on Saturday and drinking some of it.
and of course,
I'm very
one of these
excited.
episodes where, Mo, you're also invited, obviously, but we're going to break down song by song Jason Isbell's reunions. Have
Yes.
nothing to do with fishing.
I like how I'm invited, a courtesy invite there.
No, I know you've waxed and waned on Isbell since he's cleaned himself up, but
I feel like we have to address that now since you bring that up.
there's only 4 minutes left, I think, on these free Zoomies. So go ahead.
All right, that's fine. We'll leave it for the next one. Maybe Isabel's listening, and maybe he wants to know my opinion.
Maybe.
Which now he'll
hopefully
tune
not.
into the next one.
To the next episode. So this is pretty successful first false cast. I mean, I'm thinking 1 million views, probably.
Million and a half.
I know Jason Isabel's listening at this
How
point.
many thumbs down are we gonna get?
Can you edit those? Am I allowed to say I don't care for this thumbs down review?
Thumbs
Only
up only allowed.
Yeah, and we have to learn things like, don't forget to subscribe somewhere. And I don't know.
Yeah.
We need like someone under the age of 40 to help us out, probably. PJ? You under 40?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The likes are somewhere on
The
the bottom.
likes. Don't you dare unlike it or not like it. We'll come for you. All right. Well, it's been Mocock, PJ, Ted. Let's us sign it off. What?
Wait, where's the wipe with the
Star
logo?
wipe? Star wipe. We're working on it. We have a logo. I mean, having a logo is step one, and a YouTube page.
That's
and
worth 500,000 views itself.
Exactly.
I wasn't supposed to bring that up. That's a surprise for the fans.
The star wipe out. I don't know. I downloaded a video editor.
False cast logo.
I don't want
wipe.
anyone's hopes to be high. We got an intro. That's about as good as we're going to get for this first one.
All right. Awesome.
We'll use some of our
Star wipe.
sponsor money eventually to make it better.
Someone else will do that. Yes. Star wipe. We're out. Thanks, everybody.